The record was 90,000. Len Harvey versus Jock McAvoy for the light heavyweight Commonwealth title in 1942. Anthony Joshua and Klitschko, they equaled Len Harvey and Jock McAvoy's record by putting 90,000 in Wembley. That was in 2017. And congrats to Frank Warren and Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte for breaking the record. 94,000 people will turn up to Wembley on April the 21st to watch Tyson Fury defend his WBC strap against the mandatory contender Dillian Whyte. All British showdown. Now, will Frank undo his good work by putting on the piss poor card that it took what seems an eternity to announce? No point in going through it all, like David Adilier, Anthony Kakache, Isaac Lowe, Tommy Fury. Maybe some of them names may appreciate in the future and we look back on the card and it doesn't look so bad. Maybe. But as of now, a lot of people are dissatisfied with the undercard, and will Warren have spoiled all Bob Arum's good work? Look, it's Frank's card, but Bob Arum obviously enabled Frank to make such a fruitful bid to secure the fight. Will they undo all the good work with the shit card? Because it's just getting a lot of criticism. You know what I mean? Like, hopefully it doesn't overshine the main event. And with Dillian not talking, you know what I mean? Maybe they need to do some extra promotion. Maybe they need to get Tyson Fury out in the tap shoes and get his Bojangles on. It's not going to do the $1.5 million that Joshua did. For a start, they've hiked up the price to $24.99 with that shit undercard. It's not going to do 1.5. No way. I reckon they go under $1 million. And I'm saying that, and I'm going to purchase the pay-per-view. I tell you what, yeah, I did a hangout, and I compared this card from Frank Warren to every undercard that Eddie Hearn did with every Anthony Joshua pay-per-view and one Dillian Whyte pay-per-view, and Eddie whitewashed Frank. Every undercard Eddie done was way better than this one that Frank put on. Frank said obviously they burnt up all the money with the purse bid, but how it's supposed to work, if you're doing a proper partnership with Tyson Fury, is you split the purse bid, you give Dillian his cut, and a slice of Tyson Fury's purse has to go towards the undercard. No? So if Fury is supposed to be getting 20 plus million, he's supposed to give up a percentage of that to make the undercard. Isn't that how it works? I'm sure that's how AJ and Eddie Hearn do it, and Dillian Whyte. This is what I'm saying, like, Eddie seems to work in partnership with his fighters. I'm not sure if Frank Warren does that. O'Hara Davis has spoke about Anthony Joshua bumping up his purse personally when he asked how much he was getting, because AJ has part control of the finances and part control of who shows up on the card. Now, obviously, Tyson Fury has some influence because Isaac Lowe, I believe, is related to Fury. So is Tommy Fury. But to me, you know, maybe they should have put John Fury and Mickey Theo on there. I think that would have got the punters more excited from a voyeuristic outlook. Boxing fans, we're a bit morbid like that, aren't we? Now, Eddie explained that there was only so much he was going to bid, with Tyson Fury getting 80% of the pot. Do I believe that Tyson Fury gets 23 million and you've paid, what, 50 pence for the undercard? No, he ain't getting no 23 million. No way. Tyson Fury's real actual number, what he's getting, is probably no more than what he would have got if Eddie Hearn was successful with his lower bid. Maybe it does look like I'm always picking Eddie's side over Frank Warren's. Well, it is what it is. You know what I mean? If you don't like it, you don't have to tune in here. But the language is different. Eddie often refers to it as Anthony Joshua's show. It's Anthony Joshua's show. It's not really up to me. It's Anthony Joshua's show. How much times do you hear Eddie say that? I work for him. He's the boss. And when you look at it, 258, Joshua Buatsi, world title contender. Lawrence Okoli, world champion. Both former Olympians. All on 258 management. All on Matchroom. Both of them have been on Anthony Joshua pay-per-views. Headline cards in their own right now. Dillian Whyte. He was asking why Babbage wasn't on the show, perhaps taking on Tommy Fury. That would have been a fucking absolute riot of an undercard fight. Frank doesn't seem to partner up with his fighters to make the event. And that's how Eddie has been successful. He doesn't have the ego, well, I'm promoter, they're just fighters. You go in the ring. You don't bring Richard RIAKPHORE and Babbage and Fabio Wardley over here, Dillian. Why are you bringing them over here? I put the fighters on the card. No, he's allowed all of Dillian's fighters to fight on the cards. And it's not like, I'm just going to let them on there because I'm scared of Dillian. No, they're good fighters. Isaac Lowe, he's not even a Queensberry fighter. He fights on MTK cards. With 3 weeks to go and undercard's prospects looking bleak, they drafted Isaac in, coming off a loss. You know, after that bid that they were bragging about so much, to struggle with the undercard like that shouldn't have happened. And Bob Arum should have ensured that didn't happen, but he probably thought, Frank can handle it. But anyway, he's got there in the end. So let's not be overcritical. Now, they're claiming Jared Anderson is injured. That's why he's not on there. I don't believe he was ever going to fight on there. Just don't think Bob was having it. But there's no excuse. Anthony Yard's not injured. Frank didn't say he was injured. He said he was supposed to be on there, but it didn't happen. Well, why not? If he's not injured and he last fought in December, he needs a run out. Why is he not on your biggest card ever? You're prepping Anthony Yard to fight for world titles. You're prepping Anthony Yard to be a big pay-per-view star, and you don't have him on this card here? But when you look at stuff like this, Frank Warren has confirmed there is a replacement opponent on standby to fight Tyson Fury on April the 23rd in case Dillian pulls out. Warren didn't give any indication that he is expecting this and has said they have decided to cover all bases. Now, obviously you have a standby because anything could happen. But to me it kind of sounded like he was threatening Dillian. Better get yourself together, Dillian, or you can find yourself out the fight. Because I'm Frank Warren. What if Tyson Fury don't turn up? Will just Dillian fight the standby for the interim belt or something? It always seems there's a bump in the road with Frank. Whether it was for the undisputed fight with AJ last year, everything just seems awkward with Frank. Everything looks suspicious. Then he started crying about Dillian not turning up at the press conference, forgetting to mention that he had the row with Dillian's lawyer about the money not being in the escrow, 20% of the split. Dillian's a businessman. You're not going to get Dillian to prance around the place with a big cheesy grin on his face. You give him 6 tickets. Dean White said it was 4 tickets. 4. No, Dillian ain't going to be doing that. Why are you shouting? Why are you making noise? Dillian's going to do whatever he's obligated to do. And no more. And he was asking, how come he doesn't do that on Matchroom cards? Perhaps because Eddie treats him like a human being. Because he doesn't have his lawyer asking, where's the money? How come it's not in the escrow? I don't hear Dillian complaining about his split having to go to the sanctioning bodies to get more of the split when he fights with Eddie. Eddie's actually enabled Dillian to develop into a pay-per-view fighter and become a businessman in his own right and have his own fighters fighting on Matchroom cards on his undercards, becoming stars in their own right. That's why, Frank. And look, Dillian isn't signed to Matchroom like he's not signed to Queensberry. So when he works with Eddie, he's a free agent. And when he works with Frank, he's a free agent. The fact you're getting different results in terms of a response from Dillian is down to Frank Warren. It's down to Frank Warren. Yeah? Frank's mugging himself off for this fight. It's a 2-man fight. If Dillian lands something big and put Tyson Fury's lights out, they have no options, no rematch clause. They don't like each other. Dillian's going to be laughing in Frank's face. And unless Frank runs to Uncle Bob to come out of that checkbook, they can forget all about it. They must have some real belief in Tyson Fury, and that's good. They should do. They should do. But anything can happen. Now, you can say Frank hasn't done anything illegal, But he's not exactly getting the best out of Dillian for this promotion. You know, he's banned DAZN from doing any press or media there, apparently. Or Bob Arum has. You go on the DAZN website, you see them covering other fights from other promotions. They cover all boxing, not just their fights. The other companies, it's just like boxing exists in their corner. And then when you can't get unifications or cross-promotion fights, then you moan. He's asking, how comes he is not showing up at our press conference and he never did that at Matchroom? Why don't you ask why so many fighters have been battling to save their careers in court cases with you, and with Eddie Hearn, you'd be pressed to find anything like that? Why didn't you ask that?
Event for one of the biggest British fights for some time, which you've paid an enormous amount of money for, and the arguments that Dillian Whyte and those guys put up about they could have got more money from someone else. Yeah, might have got more money from someone else, or sorry, a bigger percentage from someone else, but they got a bigger percentage of a smaller pot because you paid more money for it. But I do feel at a price point of 25 quid, it's not a great undercard.
Well, I don't agree with you on that at all, obviously, Simon. They're fights, and fights are about being entertained, and they're even money fights. The Low and Bull fight is for the BC Silver Featherweight Championship that gets them into
yeah, I've seen it.
Rating. And the other one, the other fight does the same. Both those fights are competitive fights. You know, Kakachi's only lost one, as I said. Romero's won one. Kakachi's had a good few fights on BT. These are going to be good fights for the fans to watch. Competitive. It's a good fighting undercard. Let me tell you first of all what's happened is that Wembley, we can't get in there until 6 o'clock. So 6 o'clock, the doors open, fighting starts. The ring has to be cleared by 9:30 because Tyson's fight will be on at 10 because there's a curfew there. We can't be there after 11 o'clock. So we've got 3.5 hours of boxing. We've got 7 fights on in those 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
I'd have loved to put Anthony Yard on, but unfortunately, I can't risk him fighting at the moment. Joe Smith is fighting Berbiatev for the unification fight in about 8 weeks' time. He's got the winner, so I don't want to get him getting injured. I'd love to put him on there, and even if he was going to be on there, I'd give him a pretty easy job because I don't want him risking that position, and I'd have probably got some stick over that. Daniel Dubois, I'd love him to have been on the undercard, but unfortunately he's now, it's fortunate for him, he's got the WBA heavyweight title fight, which has gone to Perthbridge, so he can't be on there. And I'd love to him got the exposure on the card. Joe Joyce has got a broken wrist. I can't get him on there. Hamza Shiraz, who I'd love to everybody to have seen again on there, it's Ramadan, so he can't box. So that's where we are. So what we've done is make some real good quality fights that will be good fights to watch.
Well, Errol Spence claiming he had a Martin Lawrence moment. I was just playing. Well, it's a shame your fan base didn't know you were just playing. They thought it was deadly serious that Crawford should accept 20%. They thought it was deadly serious. They believed it was true. You and your playing, I guess you're playing this side of the street and all this, and why should I fight you when I can take easier fights against Sean Porter? That was all playing. Well, I mean, this is the thing with boxing. Boxing isn't a sport where playing, well, let's just say that they say you don't play boxing. How about you stop playing and actually make the fight? But I have a feeling that all this positive rhetoric we're hearing that since Crawford has left Top Rank, it should be easy to make. It was easy to make when he was at Top Rank. And we need to stop with this bullshit. You see, I know the game. I mean, I'm the game, Earl. The BBC been putting on a lot of bullshit pay-per-views recently. And you guys versus Spence is a good pay-per-view. Let's not clown around too much. It's a good pay-per-view. But at the same time, they want to maximize numbers. And one of the oldest tricks, or maybe one of the newest tricks, what they do recently, is dangle the carrot in front of boxing fans. Yeah, Errol, tell them that the fight is easy to make and there's a good chance it might happen next. So that way, they buy into your pay-per-view against Ugas. And then, if Errol gets the victory against Ugas, what are the chances that Errol starts playing again? Just saying, Errol, you know what I mean? I'm just playing. The questions need to be asked. Did Clarissa Shields head off to MMA to avoid Savannah Marshall? Did she start a fake beef with Eddie Hearn when she was offered a career highest payday to face Savannah Marshall? Is she getting cold feet? Now a deal was done. She signed a contract to fight Savannah in Newcastle. Is she getting cold feet now when she sees how hostile that crowd is going to be? And then to add to that, she's up against perhaps the hardest hitting female boxer in the game. You know what really pisses me off? Is there's going to be boxing fans still calling her the quote queen and all of this and that. But to me, it looks like she's trying to get out of the fight. I don't know what it is, man. Like, Amanda Serrano tried to finesse Eddie out of money. Jarrell Miller trying to finesse Eddie out of money. I don't know if he owes Bob any money. Is Clarissa trying to finesse Ben Shalom and Sky? Because I'm sure she's got a little advance and been treated very well and got a few perks for agreeing to fight Savannah Marshall. And now it looks like she doesn't want to hold up her obligation and fight Savannah in Newcastle. This shit is some bullshit. Have some integrity. I don't know much about this Targoe, who they were calling Game Boy. It sounded like something else when they were saying it, but you know, hopefully he can at least give Ryan Garcia a little bit of a workout. Perhaps he should try and rush Ryan since he's been very inactive and had psychological issues or whatever it was. Maybe he should try and tag Ryan early, see if he's still confused. Triple G versus Murata. Both men extremely inactive. How Murata's been able to keep a belt since he hasn't fought since 2019 is beyond me. Beyond me. How Triple G is still worthy a challenger and he's had one fight, I believe, since 2019 is beyond me. I'm just hoping this fight turns into a massive slugfest, knockdowns and blood everywhere. That's all I'm hoping for. I ain't got a dog in the race. I've seen Murata fight a couple of times. I'm hoping it's a good night's entertainment. That's all I'm looking for here. I know I need to stop talking about Golovkin at this point, or I'm going to say something scathingly critical about him. I just can't help it. I just can't help it at this point. So I'll leave that. Tank went all Baltimore on your boy Rolly. I don't know what Tank was saying to him. It sounded like he was saying to all the killers and the $100 bills. I mean, you're shook. There ain't no such thing as halfway crooks, scared to death, scared to look, shook. Look shook, Rolly. I mean, you need to get that gangster back, Rolly. You know what I mean? I think you need to bring back the fur coat. Even if it's the hottest day of the year, you got to bring back the fur coat, man. All jokes aside, I'm looking forward to the Ryan Garcia Targoe fight. Golovkin versus Murata. I mean, it's all part of my subscription on the zone. It's a good evening's boxing, can't lie. Erickson Lubin, what's going on? Where they get his opponent from? The NBA? Well, string being wide about box. Fucking hell, man, tall. Fondura. Apparently, NBA, I don't know if he's a young boy or not, NBA beat Sergio Garcia with a tight decision, so he must have some skills. Erickson Lubin has skills, so it should be a good fight. I don't know nothing about Fondura, if I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know nothing about him, but won't mind catching a replay of that the next day. I probably won't be able to stay up that late to watch it. And I better get some information on what side of the clock Japan is on, because I want to see it live. I want to see Golovkin fight live. Sky could be crowning a world champion soon in Richard RIAKPHORE. Arsene Golomarian is open to defending against Richard RIAKPHORE. Golomarian has got to get past a mandatory challenger, and by late this year, RIAKPHORE could get a shot. I think it's a good fight for RIAKPHORE because the little I've seen of Golomarian, he's hittable. He's very hittable. Although I don't know if RIAKPHORE can stay with his tempo or if he can deal with the body shots like that. They're all unanswered questions. He's got unanswered questions, even though, you know, he done the job against Juma. But this is a good fight, and especially if they go all out to have it in the United Kingdom. It's a good fight for RIAKPHORE, definitely, because he's got a puncher's shot. He's way bigger. I'm undecided who wins that fight if it happens, but I'll be interested in your opinion and Richard's prospects against Golomarian, if I'm pronouncing that right. Peace.